ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Smite Pro League. My name is hi-rez. Joining me to my left, your right, is the one and only Juice DM, aka Brandon Nance. Mr. Nance, how are you?
Average.
Average? That's, yeah. For
Normal.
you, that's pretty dismal, isn't it?
It's normal.
So, guys, we are just moments away from getting into our first game today, which is going to be Team Dignitas going up against the Chunks. And, well, it's an interesting kind of day, isn't it, here, where we're saying the Chunks are the ones really needing to find themselves a win. Notably, Team Dignitas struggling with the first couple of weeks. But here, it's now Chunks looking to take a game off our top 4 team.
That's right. I mean, Team Dignitas did not have a good opening into the Pro League. They were 0-4 through their first 4 games, and now at 5-4, they're kind of making a name for themselves once again. They still have some ways to go to get up to Cognitive Prime and Cognitive Red. Unfortunately, though, Fat Chunks have a much farther way to go. They need a win here because they are very, very close to being mathematically out of this one.
Yeah, it's we were just talking about that before we went live. We're not exactly sure when that does fall, but at 1-8, it's getting pretty dire. You should know that. My job is to show up and look pretty. Ladies and gentlemen, here on the side of...
So we're both failing.
Wow, it says Cognitive and Fat Chunks. That is a lie. But the Chunks over on the left side here, Dignitas on the right. First band's coming out, Circuit Band, as is Freya. And notably, there's Circuit bugged in this release, actually, but
and
still
yet
being first band.
And still getting banned out almost every single time. It looks like our final ban from Team Dignitas is coming through, and it's going to be Ra, a character most notably in the hands of Boosh, has been extraordinarily viable and dangerous and scary, and don't ever let them have that character again.
Chunk's going to pick up a Mercury here. And to respond, Dignitas has, well, some great options open. Notably here, Zhonghui going to be available. Zhonghui, very potent one, coupled with other gods, especially that Nemesis pickup.
Right.
You get a Nemesis and a Zhonghui, it's pretty tough to deal with the Fat Man.
Right. You don't want to give Nemesis away after picking Zhonghui because she just hard counters him in team fights. Being able to take away those extra protections granted by recalled demons and then just basically blow them up. And it looks like they're going to go Apollo and Geb, 2 extraordinarily strong characters. That is not a Loki. That is definitely an issue. This is supposed to be Apollo.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was almost a Loki.
It was almost a Loki.
It was damn near
should have been Loki.
Maybe should have, yeah, because now they've tipped their hand that they're looking at that Loki, which means it could be going the way of the Chunks here to counterpick it, as it is quite good against Mercury. The general idea there being Mercury, while being highly mobile, long-range poke, and doing a lot of damage and being a hyper carry late game, still doesn't have a great answer for close-range burst with beads active, which Loki would be looking to do, but nonetheless, Geb, Apollo, quite potent as a pair. For the same reasons, Apollo can crash, Geb can always bail out pretty much anybody anytime he wants.
Quickly, too. It's kind of obnoxious. Option over to the Fat Chunks here is we're going to see a lock-in, obviously, to Rama, the only character in the game that really combats Apollo effectively, as well as Agni, more than likely going to be going mid lane. I like this. Herwin has had a pretty good few Agni games throughout. But at the same time, he's still kind of aching because Kukulkan, formerly Ao Kwang, is still not on the table, and that's his go-to.
That's true. Yeah. Ao Kwang, though, taking a look at him, looking like now is Kukulkan probably going to be ready for tournament play coming up soon. Back to the side of Dignitas here, where they're taking a good hard look at Loki yet again.
I like it.
I'm surprised they're not locking it in, right? Because, I mean, the thought here is going to be, well, if they don't ban or take Loki, we'll take it. And now they're still considering it. And Loki, we talked about the Apollo and Geb matchup, but really the hallmark here is that Loki plus Geb gives Loki a lot of opportunity to get in and do his damage, and then actually not have to use his stealth to get out, which gives him a lot more juking potential later on. Yeah, he can blow the whole kit on someone as well.
And, it's been in the past where maybe Loki doesn't go through because, or maybe it gets banned out early from either team because, while Lassus is an extremely competent Loki player, so is Shing.
Sure.
Now they're on the same team. Giving that to this team gives them so much.
Oh, man.
What are they doing?
Well, the Chunks don't seem to think at all that it's going to be a Loki going to Shing, as they are going to ban out Chalk. Notably, one of Shing's stronger, if not
probably strongest.
By quite a bit, his strongest in the solo lane.
Definitely.
Bans coming out also from Dignitas here. They're going to take Athena out of the pool with their Geb pick, force the Chunks into something like a Bacchus, which, while being apropos, maybe not their favorite pick. Going back towards Dignitas here, though, taking a look at the God of Gods in Zeus. Zeus, notably similar to actually his pick that they've gone to, Vulcan, both of them bringing a lot of mid-lane control in addition to the side camps off of the mid lane. Very, very strong at controlling the two of them.
Vulcan gets blown up, though, very, very quickly. He is an all-or-nothing god. Similarly to Loki, I mean, he has to get everything off as fast as possible and try to get out of there.
If only there was some kind of stone shield.
If only. Only a move that would cleanse CC, make you immune to certain other CCs, and give you a whole bunch of health.
It's pretty good. Back to the side of the chunks here. Ymir and Osiris are locked in, ladies and gentlemen, looking at, well, what appears to be a pretty aggressive duo lane in the Ymir Rom, and then also bringing an Osiris in out of the jungle, where we can now expect him to be played. Mercury going to be going to the soul lane, most likely. Osiris doesn't have a great matchup, I don't feel like, against Vulcan, though, even in the gank game.
That, and to the same point, I've never seen anyone pick Ymir into Geb.
Yeah, you got to really, really like your chances at bursting targets.
I like that, though.
Yeah, there's a lovely Fairy of the Moon here being considered at least by Team Dignitas, and indeed is going to be locked in here as you see it coming up on screen. Chang'e going to be the final pick for Team Dignitas, and, well, they got some good things going for them here, notably that your boy Gnaw is sitting on one of his top gods.
They're going to switch. Yeah, they're going to switch. Xing going to be playing Chang'e? Yes, Xing is going to be playing Chang'e. Now, I have not seen him do this.
Yeah, it seems a little, honestly, for a god like Chang'e, then notably you would say, this is a very safe style of god if you play it appropriately. Seems risky for Xing.
See,
he only has one escape here.
That's the opposite to me, because she is very aggressive, and I think that's where people start to fail out, is because she plays him too safe. You got to use that movement speed. If anyone can make this god work, man, Xing is definitely on my list of players. He loves being in the mix. He loves kiting people. He loves baiting attacks, and that's what she does the best. And I am very excited to see what he's going to bring to the table. It looks like over on the left side, he's going to be fighting against Cyclone Spin, and she has an amazing matchup against Osiris.
Well, I don't know, man. This all around the board here. Mercury plus Osiris means that Chunks has a very, very good case for the late game.
Sure.
Dignitas here is going to be reliant significantly more on burst damage. Good for them, however, is they do have that Geb to really hold down those team fights and make sure that they're going to be able to do what they want to do with this very burst-oriented lineup between the Vulcan and the Loki. Also notable here is the fact that between that Chang'e ultimate, a Loki single target disable, and the Geb disable, they have a lot of AoE to set up Apollo or Vulcan to come in and do that AoE damage with their ultimate.
To be fair, though, we're probably not going to see those kinds of things until super late, because Zatman and Gnaw are not going to leave those lanes. Yeah. They like to farm.
Yeah, both of those guys are very farm-centric, certainly. I mean, really most players are from that position these days, but, I mean, Dignitas, they can't take this one too late, I feel like, unless the Vulcan gets really out of control. Just looking at that Mercury and Osiris across the way, they're going to really turn on around that 15 to 20-minute mark. Chinsai is going to be out for Osiris, probably get a Witchblade up as well on top of that, make it very hard for Loki to box him. Can force out some invisibility. I mean, there's a lot of things that they can do here, but that Geb plus Loki at any point in the game is going to be scary.
By the way, before we get into the game, I'm going to make it a point. Every single time this doesn't happen, I'm going to mention Scylla has not been picked again for no reason. For no reason.
Well,
I'm going to do this every game that Scylla's not picked until she starts getting banned again. She's ridiculous.
She's very strong, but well, honestly, Scylla would have been the better option here over the Agni, assuming that Agni and Scylla can perform at the same, I guess, rate, the same level.
Right.
Would have been the better pick against the Loki. She's more mobile, has the root to deal, can just 180, hit him with the number one, and get out of dodge, where Agni's rooted during his bombs. And this is where we saw the Loki pick a year or two ago first come onto the competitive scene as a counter to Agni, who was one of the most dominant gods at the time.
So Vulcan only has a 33% win rate in the SPL with a 1.3 KDA, a little over 400 gold per minute. Agni not doing that well either at 43%. Usually I feel like when I'm casting Agni games, he's always doing so well. I mean, to see his KDA be that low.
Just not winning games.
Yeah.
Just getting beat by Giannis's, basically.
Yeah. Oh, and Giannis wasn't picked.
He was banned.
He was banned. Okay.
He was banned in the first round.
I just got mad again for a second. Oh my.
Yeah, he was banned out. But yeah, I think Agni has had most of his matchup against Giannis, and Giannis has been very, very well. I mean, he's been performing great. Yeah. And even though that matchup seems to have a lot of counterplay built into it, Giannis can put portals in the flame dash to stop that, and there's and Agni has the opportunity to bomb over walls, to catch ports, those types of things. All of that. It seems to go very heavily in favor of Giannis.
Well, he's just a stronger character. His burst damage is a little bit easier to confirm, on top of the fact that he can teleport teammates, he can save them repeatedly. There's a lot he can do.
Yeah, it's that we've come some ways when we're no longer talking about Agni being a highly mobile god, even with his dash. No longer being CC immune, of course, it does make him susceptible to some of the shenanigans.
All right, so Xing's playing Chang'e, Gnaw's playing Vulcan. I like both of those things. I think that if they use their abilities together well, they'll have enough to really burst down Unique before they have the opportunity to try to get that Mercury going. I mean, we saw Mercury fail a few times this week. He's not the end-all be-all. Neither is Geb, two characters largely to be considered the highest in the game right now. But at the same time, we're seeing a lot of play come out from some maybe lower-tiered or lesser-played characters, and they've been doing very well with just higher levels of teamwork.
Look how dark those bushes are. Oh, my.
It's a scary map.
It's a scary, spooky map. Well, also, you know, that level 1 matchup here in the solo lane is great. It's always a great place to kind of look at how you might expect the early portion of the game to go here, where Xing and Lassus combine for a very, very effective wave clear with the decoy into the Chang'e 3 and 1, depending on how she elects to skill that. On the side of Chunks, however, for that solo lane, you're going to be looking at Unique.
Are they lost?
They're hunting something. They're hunting that early Guardian rotation, it looks like, but this ward appears to have come out before the rotation started.
They came all the way down the duo lane,
Yeah,
never even stepping into the
dodge
jungle.
that easy.
That was smart. And now we're going to get 2 wards on the map so far. Bottom side near the duo, of course, was blocked in. And then we have, actually 3 now. There is one at the hotspot at the mid camps on the left side, and there's one hovering up on blue buff to ensure that there's no invades, and they understand what's being taken in what order.
Heavy Hammer coming out for Cyclone Spin on his start, which means we will be looking at the solo lane. Mr. Osiris here.
To me, this should not be used against Chang'e in terms of the 2v2 fight that's going to happen in the solo lane. They need to commit heavily to burning those creeps down and getting onto Lassus' Loki as fast as possible. You see that Vanish go off and he uses it for damage, you got to go for the kill immediately.
Yeah, and yeah, they're right. It's going to hurt his peel a lot. It's also going to hurt his wave clear considerably, giving this item, going for that over something like a Death's Toll, and maybe even a Hog 2 to start, but they are going to look for the invade over blue buff. Lassus and Xing are here.
This is
They're
what
gonna
we're talking about.
For the leash, but Lassus in a lot of trouble, and down he's going to go. Yeah, just like that. And yeah, Chang'e, she may be in trouble as well.
They're going for
the dive
it.
may come out. Cyclone's been actually electing not to. They've got her low enough, especially with that Mage look. Maybe going to toss another flail or 2 over the wall, but the first blood coming out in favor of the Chunks, and maybe they've got an edge on Dignitas here. Definitely seem to have done their homework.
Well, we've seen this before. I mean, these guys love to invade. They're always looking for the early pushes. They're going to be able to steal away the blue buff again, and looks like Xing is going to be level 2 here, as well as 2 level 2s coming out for the guys on Chunks, but you have to consider Lassus is still level 1, and that is wave to wave.
Lassus is going to go ahead and start stealing some experience away from Gnaw here in the mid to try to recover this. Left side of the lane here, Dare to Care's in a lot of trouble, and he's going to go down actually easy peasy there, Samshrew. Zatman thought that they could fight there with the minions, but the aggro coming out on to, well, poor Dare to Care there, as he's going to get locked down pretty easily, in fact, by the Chunks. That one was kind of given away.
People are underestimating Samshrew way too much. I mean, I talk about Aurora front to back every single time I watch this guy play. He's one of my favorite players on the planet to watch go forward. But Samshrew, I mean, this guy has to be the most underrated player in the history of Smite. I mean, no one is ever giving this guy enough credit. I mean, we just saw him beat Snoopy in lane the other day. He didn't win the game, but he beat Snoopy pretty heavily.
He's had his share of tough games, however. Here on the right side lane, you can see that it's been a very, very back-and-forth trade between the Chang'e and the Osiris. Big advantage here, of course, going in the way of mana to Cyclone Spin with that early blue buff steal and already having his, still having his available, giving him a lot of, well, advantage in terms of his positioning capabilities and his abilities to harass the
Xing
Chang'e.
didn't go back.
No.
Xing stopped his back. Oh, we're going to see Spirit Flail
Greedy
go
Xing.
off there. Very strange. More aggression coming out in the left lane as well. We're getting maybe a mini rotation. No, they're going to go to the mid camp in the back there. I'm very surprised to see him not go a little bit harder to get Xing.
Yeah, I think he's thinking, I'll just go ahead and pick up my blue buff. I'll take this down. My Hog is available, I assume, by his going for this.
Xing is looking a little bit on tilt to me as well. I mean, he actually just tried to...
Does he pick up a teleport to tower?
Well, he just he just tried to back 4 times in a row while tanking an archer.
Yeah.
It's a little weird, and it's very not normally like Xing. He's usually very min-max oriented, looking for opportunities to get in and get out as quickly as possible. Right there, he wasted a lot of time, wasted probably 5 or 6 seconds, which is going to hurt him as that Guardian has already taken a lot of damage, and in the back now, he's going to lose pretty much the whole wave in gold, and it looks like 5 of the 6 in experience.
Yeah, he's definitely getting himself behind, and another thing here is with this heavy hammer start plus the advantage in the lane, it's forcing into a sprint 1 on Chang'e, which is not necessarily where you want to be, considering she can actually build quite a bit of MS for herself off of her abilities. If you didn't know, she actually gets additional movement speed based on casting an ability while it's active. So sprint not necessarily the ideal setup for her. However, she does synergize fairly well with that heavy field.
So we have right side, more push coming out. Cyclone Spin going to try to shut down Lassus here. Are we going to see a Waxing Moon to try to protect as the rotation comes in? Dare to Care actually does block off Aurora, Hurrywind, and Unique. A strange lack of aggression. This could have been a Gold Fury call as well, but they're going to turn onto Cyclone.
They're going to try to go 1v3 him, but Lassus already taken too much damage to stick in there as their primary melee DPS. And as you see, Geb not bringing too much to the table besides a knockup, and besides that has to bug out, especially with the Amir coming in. Just such a more potent fighter than the Geb at this stage in the game.
So now we're looking at Shing here, the sprint out, like you talked about. In this case, having sprint 2 would be really, really strong. I mean, this is going to give him an opportunity to negate the effects of Heavy Hammer with sprint 2, of course, giving him the invulnerability to slows, allowing her to move around and kite that melee a little bit longer, especially coupled with the breastplate. Now, we have a boxing match going on. Samshrew taking the brunt end of that one. He hasn't been back in a while.
That was a tough engagement there for Samshrew. He was not in a great spot.
No,
actually taking the entire minion wave there. Actually, just flat out a positional advantage or disadvantage there for him, and honestly, it does result in Zapman going back because he has to pick up Dev Gloves as well, but it delays Samshrew, who did have the advantage of his first there in gold. So all around a nice play by Zapman to keep him engaged.
Zap did take a while to get out of the base there. I mean, look at your mini-map. Samshrew's basically in tow right now, which means Zapman's pressure was wasted.
You're absolutely, I mean, you're spot on there, but there's going to be a present waiting for Zapman here as he comes back to the blue buff. No, he's actually going to go straight to lane, and a steal coming out for the chunks, just like that. Aurora going to be picking up the blue buff for himself. Geb making his way over, punting Aurora into the lane, but he's pretty pleased with that positioning that he ended up, and he's going to take a couple pot shots from the Zapman, but not much more going. Speaking of goings on the right side here, Lassus is going to do some damage to Cyclone Spin, but as you can see, the Osiris just too good. He just pops his 3, and Lassus realizes, well, I really can't eat.
This is not good for Cyclone right now. He slowed through the aim strike. Shing's trying to move up there. He gets off a Crescent Moon Dance, but he wasn't able to do it. Cyclone Spin actually turns around, deals a decent amount himself as Hurrywind rotates over. Hand of the Gods comes through right there just to be able to clear up the wave, and now they're facing off once again. Shing needs to be very, 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 very careful.
I don't think Shing has realized this rotation's come out here. He's teaming it pretty far back, going to go for that recall bait, and Hurrywind's going to go ahead and clear the wave for him, allowing Cyclone Spin to pick up that XP before heading back, where he's got to be looking to finish off these boots pretty soon, but not enough gold just yet. Beads into some wards for the Osiris there, but, well, he's out of the woods, certainly, where his clear is going to be pretty rough, even given the Chang'e, who's not the strongest Unique. Looking for a play on the Zapman here. This one's going to be from downtown if they go for it, and no. Indeed, they will not, as everyone falls back.
Looking at the board here, just checking out some items. It looks like Dare to Care has the Midas boots online, so does Aurora. Both getting them pretty early, but there is a fair gold difference so far for Aurora, who of course does have that assist on Dare to Care's death. Using that effectively so far. Most likely we're going to see sovereignties come out from both supports. I don't think either one's going to break the meta on this one. Shing opting not to go into the Breastplate of Valor or Mail of Renewal just yet. He's starting into boots and the Sprint 2 to try to create some distance, as we're going to watch Cyclone Spin chase away 3 people from the mid camp, but they did manage to get it for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, they were able to pick it up there, and, well, it's a lot of rotations for the chunks, honestly. Given that they split the mid camps, you don't want to see your soul laner necessarily being pulled there. Better off aggressing, maybe into Shing or trying to steal a back harpy or something in that situation. But Cyclone Spin here is going to fall back to lane, where, well, you know, honestly, Shing is kind of also out of that dangerous period where he's just so squishy. Has his boots 2 and his sprint 2 available, so does have some answers to that heavy hammer and hasn't been caught out just yet. So both of the soul laners probably pretty happy with, well, where they are so far.
Now it looks like we're going to move forward. Glacial Strike on the left side going to do some damage as we see Dare to Care come in with the rollout. Samshrew getting a little bit out of position here. A strange wall, possibly thinking there was going to be a jungler, but Lassus nowhere near the lane. Taking a look at the Hunters here, both level 9 right now, though Samshrew does have an experience lead, albeit a very tiny one.
Unique sitting in the mid lane here. Lassus and Dare to Care thinking about getting crafty, but he's standing right on top of a ward there, so Unique staying right under his tower. Hurrywin making his way back to the lane and, well, doing what he does best as an Agni, clearing out with spells and getting his damage up best he can. Only thing that really remains to be seen here is what he's going to do with that tiny trinket. Likely to be the Bancroft's talent in this situation, but Chang'e is a healer. Could see the Divine Ruin coming out. It's not a bad item, all things told, even if your healing that you're preventing is not going to be that substantial.
Well, she does have pretty low cooldowns, especially if she decides to go into the Breastplate of Valor and then, of course, choose a focus, allowing her to get maximum cooldown reduction. I mean, she's a bit should be able to spam that thing pretty quickly.
The healing did, yeah, it could come up very quickly. You're absolutely right. It'll come back on cooldown.
Ooh.
But it is kind of, that player-based AoE, so it's just to be pretty much in the fight where Chang'e's maybe not going to be that often. Dancing away from a gank there. Well, not a gank, just a solo lane beatdown is Xing back into his tower, but still taking some harassment. And also here, notably Unique, picking up the Morningstar of Speed, rank 2 here, giving himself, well, building into what appears here to be
Heartseeker.
The Heartseeker.
Yeah.
Over the Golden Bow style.
That's strange. Yeah, we haven't. Well, then again, this is a jungle. Oh, here comes Unique. Speak of the devil, he's going to fling him up a little bit early on the shield, but the shield does prevent knockups, and while Unique does stun you technically when the application of the throw,
no toss.
It doesn't, does not allow you to be tossed. That is a knockup.
Well, on the back of that rotation, the Chunks are going to go ahead and try to take this early Amir, where
Smart.
Look at the damage here. Between the Agni and that Amir ultimate, just so much coming through, and this is going to be free and easy. Dignitas trying to rotate over, just not going to be in time. A smart engagement by Unique there. I think they realized that they didn't need too much out of that. Tossing back glasses now to get on their tower. He's going to eat an ultimate.
Oh!
Apollo comes crashing in. Great coordination from the boys at Dignitas there as they crush Unique, recouping a little bit of that Gold Fury, but still looking for more.
I think they are kind of recouping maybe even that second kill, let alone the Gold Fury. I mean, 2,400 gold deep still. That was a good kill to get. Unique is pretty far ahead right now at 5,400. He's actually pretty much tied with Cyclone Spin, putting those two on top of the board, allowing him to get some extra damage there. But Zatman, of course, did use his ultimate. Lassus used his as well. This could be the Chunk's opportunity to try to turn this one back around and get some extra push onto objectives, considering the same amount of damage won't be available. But they're kind of disoriented right now. Herwin needs to go back. Aurora's used a lot of his mana as well. And Cyclone Spin, of course, is segregated from the rest of the world there on Solo Island.
Yeah, but they're probably still pretty happy with their objective play here so far, as they did pick up that early Gold Fury, and as you saw there, Samshrew able to aggress out of that duo lane onto, well, the Gold Fury or the mid camps, trying to take some shots at Zatman, where, well, Samshrew, as you mentioned, at 1.4 KDA and only a 22% win rate, certainly not at the top of people's minds as top hunters in North America. On the other hand, Zatman, even given his relative struggle so far in the SPL, still being kind of lauded as one of the top hunters in North America.
Oh, definitely.
So I guess, what's your case for Samshrew being so underrated? Looking at his stats here, not that impressive.
Well, granted, his team is losing a lot. But I don't think it's going to be mostly his fault. I mean, the way that he's been playing over the past, I'd say, 10 days or so is really, really high level. And, even going back to... Oh, Unique again out of nowhere. Zatman, does he have the ult? No, Across the Sky is down. The moves and Serenade have both been used. Unique looking for the major look. One more shot's going to do it. Oh, but Dare to Care and Nah might have the save here. Looking at Herwind on the map, he is not in position. They need to do something with this. With Zatman being gone, they need to try to push for something. The issue is that everything's already pushed up too far. I don't know
Best
that they
hope
have
is
the
Red Champ
opportunity.
respawn. Amir's actually going to spot it out here, DM, with that ward. And yeah, they should go for this here. Dare to Care realizes it's up. Aurora's going ahead and started it. Here's Unique as well, but the Hog plus the Mercury should be it. They will take something out of it. Herwin trying to zone best he can, but Lassus is going to put the damage out on him. Immediate dash in reaction. No ultimate followed up from the Loki, but they're going to come around. Oh, no, please. A lot of damage coming up, but only hitting Aurora there.
Zap's going deep. Aegis going to put out. Zatman's going to be stunned as well, but he manages to get the Geb Shield. He's low on mana. Samshrew actually going to get stunned once again, completely out of position. Could be trouble. Aurora finds a four-man wall. Loki's going to let himself get deep with that. Oh, look at this. Samshrew baiting for that long. Does he have the opportunity to go for the damage? Needs a big one.
Well, he hit Zatman there a couple times, and no, not enough to save his life. And the Amir forced a retreat to the Tier 2. Rom, nothing cooking there. And Dignitas takes a great opportunity there off the red buff. They give it away, but they get a lot back for it. And it kind of all started there with Gnaw hitting an ultimate on the one player to let the Loki blow him up. Dare to Care taking a lot of damage. Osiris wants to go deep, but the backlines, his tank is down, and now he's fighting into 4 here. Needs to get this kill just to do it, because he's going to go down right after. And, well, in the meantime, Xing doing what Xings do, and camping in the soul lane here and looking to take some towers, channeling his inner Sio.
That fight was incredibly ill-conceived. They go in against 4 right there, and then I even saw a Lord of the Afterlife chase. First of all, they went on to the support. Never a good idea when you're chasing into 4 people. Second, he went into the support who was already affected by a Geb Shield. The Lord of the Afterlife actually did technically no damage to his static HP. Had he waited a few seconds, let the bait go out a little bit more, that might have been a little bit different, but unfortunately, Cyclone's been gonna go down. Smart plays by Dignitas, and Chunks getting way too aggressive.
Yeah, the overextension there results in a couple of deaths on their side, and the resulting tower dive being pretty fruitful in terms of kills, but not picking up an objective on the back of that. Our team, Dignitas, which means that your gold advantage hasn't dipped back down in their favor. However, they have taken the experience lead by some bit here, and well, that's what kills will do for you in the early game.
That Path of Flames. This is what happens to the Chunks every single time we watch them play a top 4 team. They start doing well. They start putting themselves in positions where they're winning fights, they're taking objectives smartly, they're going for invades. But right there, that Path of Flames spells the Chunks out to me. He jumped away from nothing. There was no one there. Gnaw had no mana. He had no vision, no understanding of where anyone was on the map. And now he's so afraid of dropping another death that he's not even going to go for what could have been a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, and here he may be dropping a death to Lassus. Lassus avoiding that stun there. But, I mean, even earlier on, we saw Whirlwind basically dash from his tier 1 up and try to stun out the Loki at about 3/4 health without really kill potential. Maybe a sign of frustration, as you mentioned, from the Chunks.
That or, it just looks like they're maybe still too junior of a team. They don't have the same kind of presence. Let's watch Dare to Care and Zatman right now as they're fighting 3 people effectively.
Ultimate.
I mean, this is... they should not have won that fight. And now they're going to get a 4-man dive. Beautiful over the wall from Lass is going to find a perfect stun blind, and he gets him. Aurora's going to go down. Unique's going to be forced out, and still 2 more go down, and Dignitas takes the lead quite steadily.
Oh, Whirlwind. My friend. That's not a great position to be in there, homie. As, well, yeah, now he's going to start getting chipped out with, with Gnaw on Vulcan and Xing on Chang'e in the front lines in this kind of situation where you don't have great burst potential because you're down players and they can just chip you away. Ultimate use onto Whirlwind there just to force out beads onto Agni, which means that, well, now at any point anyone can go nuts. Zatman looking for the Mez, going to be dashing forward here any moment. Immediately popped there was the 3 from Cycle Spin. Mez coming out, and now, well, he's in some trouble. Force use the ultimate there. Backside, Unique stealing away the orange buff, or I'm sorry, taking his own orange buff, not a steal, on your side of the map. Gold Fury goes with Dignitas. That means that they are indeed holding the gold lead in addition to the experience lead. Now, nothing out of control just yet, but certainly making their dominance felt around the map as they're flexing their muscles with that level advantage.
I'm looking at the damage right now. 9,800 coming out from just Zatman at 15 minutes. I mean, this guy has made a complete 180 in the past, I think, from week 1 comparatively to week 3. He's back on top for his team where he has been for so long. I mean, and you take a look at the board on the left side, Samshrew only at 4,500, under half. He hasn't been able to get the same amount of shots off. Zatman getting multiple people in his ultimate repeatedly.
That's where the damage is coming from.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and this is not something we usually see too much. I mean, Apollo will get some damage, but there's so many groupings happening on Fat Chunks. It just seems like they're not fleshing very well together. They're not dancing cohesively as a unit in team fights. They're kind of running around almost aimlessly looking for possible kills and chasing targets instead of having a plan.
Well, over on Xing in the solo lane, to check back in over here, he has picked up his Dynasty Plate Helm. This is one of the newer items coming into the patch this week, giving him some physical protection, magical power, in addition to some pen. So allowing him to go for this this very CDR-intensive build, however, still going for the Breastplate of Valor. So definitely looking for that tanky style.
Yeah, he wants to be able to get in there full CDR, start swinging those Crescent Moon dances, getting extra heals off, and lowering the cooldown, of course, of Waxing Moon. Left side, blink in, Dare to Care with a combo onto Unique's going to get frozen out. Nice shot coming out from Gnaw, and actually Xing's going to come to the back line. Lassus catches him mid-dash.
I was like, why did that dash not go anywhere?
Jeez.
And then all of a sudden, there is a Loki right
2.
side tier 1 Cyclone Spin. As you can see, he's actually recalling here. Not going to pick up this tower as Zatman is coming across the skies. He's going to actually... Oh, he's going to actually be able to stop him here. Will he crash down? He will indeed. Cyclone Spin going to be a tough target to pick up, though. Even with a full wave here, Zatman's going to give it a shot nonetheless. Tether coming out. Auto attacks coming through. Last couple missing there of Audacity. Going to be stunned, but popping his sprint to get positioning. Now it's Zatman still looking for the hits, but Cyclone Spin juking through the minions. There is no rotation coming just yet. The Mercury now starting to shade over this way, but now as he's left the minions, this should be dead to rights indeed. Zatman with a well-executed gank onto Cyclone Spin.
Cyclone Spin completely just not in the state of mind to fight that. He lost the entire first part of that fight, but then he gets the stun. And when he realizes the stun goes off, he wastes about 20 seconds or 2 seconds. He looks back at him, make sure he's stunned. Which way should I go? Then he throws out the Spirit Flail without having the Scythe attached to him already, meaning he's not getting the bonus slow. There was no way for him to get away from there, especially since Zap was about to put the moves back on. It was more than just panic. He is completely on tilt.
Oh, Naw's got a great angle here. Ultimate coming out. A lot of damage to come through. Aurora going to take the brunt of it there. Lass is going to be able to finish him off easily under the tower, and they're going to take the tier 1 on the left as well on the back of this gank. And Dignitas, well, when you see these kind of backstabs coming through in the early stages of the game where they're assaulting into your tier 1s from the jungle. It's just indicative of how much control they have. These poke mages in Vulcan and Chang'e are creating so much space, and, well, the threat of exactly that right there, the ultimate combination, Xing's ultimate barely missing, which would have been a surefire kill onto Heroin. They should be able to take a tier 2 off this as well, as there's just not much the Chunks can do.
Samshrew's going to activate the Astral Arrow, try to find something. He does push the wave out there, backing up here. Now there's no Gold Fury. Lassus actually gets stopped. I'm not sure what Samshrew's trying to do here. I'm really surprised we didn't see a counter initiation there.
Yeah, I mean, I think they just didn't have any follow-up. Agni sitting on, take a look at his helmet here. Now 2 bombs, or 3, I'm sorry. So likely sitting on only a couple bombs there. They didn't feel the damage. Although that Gnaw ultimate was down, it hasn't really been a huge factor, but I think Gnaw
really is.
Gnaw is 3 for 3. He's hit a player every time he's cast this ability, which is notable considering that I've seen it miss way more often than hit in the SPL.
Probably an 80-20 ratio.
If even. I don't know if I've ever seen any hit besides maybe an errant one thrown by Lobster over a Gold Fury one time.
So bottom side, we're going to see Unique again picking up his speed buff. He's been on time for this every time. But aside from that, he's been suffering. He's 0-2 right now. He had the assist in the beginning, but the Heartseeker's not working out. I mean, he's not getting the same amount of damage. He needs crit online. You can see him into the short sword right now, but he has 1,300 gold in the bank. Still needs 350 more to get the Deathbringer on.
Well, now you're going up against a very, very tanky Chang'e between the 2 physical protection items. She's got a lot of mana. She's got a lot of pokes. She's going to be pretty difficult to lock down as well with the Sprint 2 plus beads.
Plus, she got the pen. Now damage.
Yeah, now the pen on top of, some damage coming out of the boots can go for really any item that he wants now. Voidstone maybe being a good pickup. Just go with this kind of hybrid tanky build.
I do love Voidstone breastplate. It's my favorite build on her. Gives her so much potential of poke. And with the full CDR, she's able to initiate pretty much
That
twice.
taking across the skies here. They want to go in. Lassus being frozen by Aurora. Crashing down as that man to bail out the Loki in the backlines, but Heroin still in a lot of trouble. Down to Lassus, he ports forward. Gnaw is here throwing out his meatballs and doing what damage he can, and in the meantime, there's just Chang'e dancing around, making life pretty miserable for everybody on the side of the Chunks as Dignitas retreats for the Gold Fury.
With Heroin down, they just don't have an opportunity to get that damage off enough to try to contest that. Also, with Lassus on this side of the map, they don't really have a chance at the Fire Giant. Or do they? Or do they? No, Lassus looks like he's not going to back. He recognizes that no one's been on the map for a while. Now, he doesn't have his ultimate, but he has a decent amount of damage. They're going to spot it. They're going to spot it.
He's going to try to go in, but Xing may actually make it here in time. Honestly, Danica blinking forward. They're going to be able to contest this.
Nope.
No, going down right away as the Chunks, but the knockup's coming through into the Chang'e ultimate, waxing him beautiful. Over the top is the Vulcan ultimate, not finding anybody, leaping out just in time. It's Cyclone Spin, Aurora to fall here, but Dignitas not going to be able to capitalize too much. Oh, Lassus will find Cyclone Spin there. He's pretty much dead to rights once the Vanish comes back out. Doesn't matter if you slow him. There it is. Dot coming through. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh, he almost turned that around.
Yeah,
he should have baited it for a little while longer. Bottom side, it looks like Xing was able to find Aurora as well. Now they're just trying to push down the tier 2. Now they don't have Fire Giant. They're going to lose a little bit in terms of being able to sustain through this, but they do have a healer this time. At this point, Chang'e's Moonlit Waltz is going to be maybe level 2, whereas Moonflower Dance is going to be maxed. This is going to ensure that she has healing reduction, and with the cooldown reduction that she has, she's going to be able to keep them up.
Liking the pickup here from Unique and the Deathbringer. Really his only option here. Coming out of the Heartseeker needs to get the RNG. Even if he's not going to have a lot of crit strike chance, he will be critting hard. Looking to be about between 550 and 650 damage depending on the target's armor at this stage in the game. Can turn a team fight, but with Xing throwing out, 300 damage, or 300, I guess, health heals every, 4.5, 5 seconds now?
I don't think it's that much. Maybe 200-ish.
200 at this stage?
210.
Yeah, so still looking for his next item. Xing actually sitting on 1,200 gold in hand. I mean, do you expect to see a Voidstone coming out here?
That, or he could be finishing up into Heavenly Agility plus finishing the beads. That would be massive as well. Either one's going to be really strong. It looks like he's going to go into Magic Focus, so it's likely to be the Voidstone, though Spear of the Magus does have a pretty good play on her.
It's decent, yeah.
That, or...
In extended fights especially.
Yeah, I really don't see the Obsidian Shard coming out. I hope it's not the Obsidian Shard. They don't need it.
Unlikely, yeah, I agree there. Looking at Lassus as well, he's picked up that Girdle of Inner Power, buying it outright before finishing off the Titan's Bane. And, well, this is an item that I don't think gets enough love, honestly. Oh, wait, let's hold that thought. As on the left side.
Ooh, cute.
Well, Aurora, yeah, with the cheeky play, blinking away from the blink there.
Jumps a few times just to show him,
similar,
hey,
similar on the right side. Zatman not in a lot of trouble here, but they're just a little poke going back and forth between the boys. But looking at that Girdle of Inner Power, but more notably, the rank 2 Titan's Bane. This item is actually really, really good. Warrior's Bane, 20 physical power and 22% pen for, what is it, like 1,200 gold or something?
I think 13. Yeah,
really cost
efficient.
Like
yeah, very, very strong.
Especially when you're doing something like coupling it with that Girdle of Inner Power.
14.
Sorry?
I think it's 14.
Is it 14?
14.
It's just so affordable with a 550 first rank and then building into it being pretty easy. 20% additional physical and magical power buff. You also gain pen. So you get percentage pen from the girdle plus percentage power plus the 20 power that begets, an additional 5 out of that from the, Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is these two items in conjunction for 900 gold plus whatever it is ending up being, as we can't remember, 1,400, let's say. For 2,200 gold, you're getting a hell of a lot out of these two items, more so than just the Titan's Bane.
But Lassus has, while he has a lot of damage, he still has
right
to be
side, right side. It's going down. The chopper is Blackhawk down, boys. Right side lane, tier 2 tower. Cyclone Spin finds a solo kill, but Lassus is not ready to let this one go.
Have you made that joke yet?
I have not. Mercury ultimate incoming as well. Lassus forced to vanish out, but he's going to get hit by the Mage Look. They know in general where he's going. Trying to hide out, putting the damage out on Unique, but
He's
actually missing. He is going to actually have his ultimate still available through the wall, but Cyclone's been notably going to live there as Apollo takes a spill.
That's really big for them. They have the Assassinate down. Zapman still down for 30 seconds. They have to make something off of this. Again, this is a point where they have the ability to push forward, and they're not taking it.
Yeah, I mean, but what can they really do? Objective's not really there. If they try to push up the mid lane, they're going to get collapsed on by Datacare, who's been all over the Blink initiation in this game. Right side lane, creep advantage is just so far in favor of Dignitas with that extended position from Zapman, and they didn't have anyone in position to push up the left side lane where the tier 1 steer still stands.
But I think that's the issue, is that we're always making the argument that, they're not in the position. They don't have the health for it. Like, this is some things that teams in the Smite Pro League need to be able to do. And this is not the first time that we've seen chunks with an advantage that they've not pushed.
That's right. I mean, and that's kind of one of the things you haven't really seen is that full commitment to the rat style of play in Smite. It would look something like an Apollo and an Athena and a lot of teleport to wards and some Nuwa action going on, and really just look to spread the map and try to get something like a Loki or Mercury to clean up kills as they try to rotate with you.
Lassus doing a ton of damage to Unique. That was one auto attack with Vanish and Aim Strike applied to it. Just did 60% of Unique's health.
Yeah, things that Mercury does not have. Health ranking pretty high on that list.
Yeah, very, very high. In fact, considering how much damage he just took from 2 abilities on a person who applied them at the same time through stealth. I mean, Loki does damage. Actually, Loki also just played a Sentry Ward deep into the back here, trying to what seems to be protect the Gold Fury's vision, which is strange to me that they're committing so much at 25 minutes into the game.
Oh, it gives them a couple things, right? With this ward, wow, actually no, that is fairly deep. Never mind, I take that back. At the Gold Fury here, it's going to be spawning back up shortly, and away we go. This should be pretty fast, but we are going to have that pause coming out as the Gold Fury
begins. That's a combat pause there, combat.
Combat with the Gold Fury, I think, is allowed. No enemy players in range. So, looks like it's a pretty short one, guys. So, we're going right back into this bad boy. And now it's paused again, so now back to us. Hello, and thank you for joining us. If you are just coming here, guys, it's game number 1 today. It's the Fat Chunks versus Team Dignitas. And, Dignitas has held on to this one the first maybe 6-7 minutes. First couple spawns of the mid camps looking very good for the Chunks. But since they have fallen behind.
Well, that's been the story of Fat Chunks every single time. I mean, we've had so many points where, someone like Unique has gotten into the back line. They've found a good major look or a good special delivery, found the first blood. This is not the first time we've seen Fat Chunks in this position.
Absolutely not.
So, speaking of Mercury.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the difference between, what appears to be the win rates overall for Loki and Mercury. Of course, they both have been playing the soul lane, but both of them being kind of that swing position god, you can see some analogies here between their play. Loki, what I take from this, Loki slightly riskier.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, 42% win loss. But then again, Mercury also has the ability to be a hunter. If you so want to go that route, he has the solo lane, like you talked about, and the jungle, a little bit more versatile. And Loki not played by as many players at top level comparatively. And Mercury seems to be in almost everyone's god pool, whereas there's probably 6 players in the SPL who
doesn't
have a Loki.
seem to take a tremendous amount of how should you say this, veteranness.
Sure.
To be good with Mercury.
It's sometimes you just want to make people look.
Yeah, I mean, it's very different than what you saw from Freya, right? Where Freya started getting picked up as that hunter role, and you saw players, notably like Pain de Vion, struggle with it for a really long time, where other players excel with that style of play. It hasn't been necessarily the most potent, but it can work. Mercury seems to be kind of the other end of that spectrum from a swing position, where it's like, or even Athena on the other end there, where it's like, Lassus can do it, but not everyone can just pick it up and go for Athena jungle. Mercury seems to be the kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, I need like 3 games, and show you just by Golden Bow and made you look, right? Like, and the thing is he just is so safe with that ability.
Yeah. I mean, he's super far back, gets possible crit damage. If he has Golden Bow, can proc into multiple people. It does a lot.
Yeah, it does. And it gives him not only the MS to help deal with, his passive and give him additional movement speed to poke in and out, right? It's almost like you're playing Habwa, but your spells are incredibly easy to hit and from longer range. Right? You're constantly just juking in and out of your range, but except for it being 20 or 30 feet like a Hubwa, you're talking 50 to 60 feet with a Mercury. And
plus
notably,
a much wider range.
In hands are 55 feet in Smite. Ranged attacks are 55 feet. So you're sitting right at the edge of where someone can possibly hit you with the opportunity to potentially put out 400 or 500, 600 damage in a crit. Even in the early stages of the game, just when Golden Bow's finished on top of your boots, you're looking at between 200 and 350 damage depending on your passive. So,
and then late game, he could have something like Bloodforge, hit 3 or 4 people in a fight, plus maybe a creep wave, and find his health go back up to full.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed our path down Mercury Lane. We are going to be hopping back into game here as we'll see the exciting conclusion to the Chunks versus Team Dignitas.
So we're going to get right back into it. They're doing the Gulf Fury, no contest whatsoever. Dignitas going to get a free 1,500 gold, bringing them up to 7,500 gold ahead and over 10,000 experience. And you're going to see that start getting reflected as the level 20 start coming out. Gnaw and Zapman, both 20. Lassus very, very close as well at level 19, which is surprising to me considering he had a pretty rough start.
Well, Geb is... Well, he's feeling walled. Pretty invulnerable there. He's going to get walled off, and ultimately he will not be followed up on, though. I mean, they just there's too much threat, right? The poke from Xing and Gnaw, they know if they go in and commit to a kill on a tanky target, even a not tanky target, in the time that they do that, they're going to get hit by at least a couple spells between Gnaw and Xing, and then Loki can always be lurking, and that's a surefire kill.
So it looks like Xing's going to back there with a little over 100 gold in hand, which is kind of surprising. He already has a Sentry Ward in his pocket. No other wards picked up, it seems. Zapman heads back as well. You're going to see the short sword come out. The beads and the greater sprint are both activated. Heavenly Agility is available. And we're going to start seeing a major grouping on the right side as we're going to get our second Fire Giant attempt.
Yeah, he's come back up. Ward advantage currently in favor of the boys of the Chunks. Across the sky is Zapman. They're going to go for Samshrew here. Ultimate coming out during the roll. Samshrew dead to rights. Zapman ultimate not even needed, but now he's in position. Girdle still active onto Lassus. Doesn't need any more damage at this point. Dare to Care just rubbing shoulders with Aurora. Over the top comes the ultimate from Gnaw. 900 damage onto Cyclone Spin. He's in trouble. Zapman looking for that kill, but just plinking away and chase into their base are the Chunks. Mez able to come out from Zapman there. Will indeed knock up. Do they have the damage underneath the Phoenix here? They will with a dot. Gnaw picking up the kill, in fact, and Dignitas has rolled through the Chunks now. No way they can contest this Fire Giant.
That right there. That fight is the difference between Dare to Care and Shadow Q. While Shadow Q would have watched Zapman and protected Zapman that entire fight, Dare to Care goes, you guys go kill them. I'm going to blink into 3 of them. Cataclysm, force them to run in the opposite direction, and then I'll meet up with you guys in a minute.
Yeah, I'll be there. Don't worry. I can roll out. Here at the Fire Giant, though, is where, well, we're going to see Herwin toss a couple of half-hearted Agni Bombs into the pit there. Not finding too much. Last is getting fairly low, but he's going to be able to shirk that dot and get out of dodge with the Vanish. That man's actually dashing forward here. He's only going to need about 5 in hands, 1 or 2 if he crits. Doesn't matter. It's just the 1 plus the So Beautiful, and down will go Herwin. That So Beautiful hit him for about 360 damage. Just a testament to how far ahead Zapman is.
Now, Lassus does have the ability to heal up here. They're going to go for it. Girdle of Might activated. Unique's going to throw out an Aegis here. Throws out a Fist of the Gods as well. Going to stun them both out. But I didn't even know that people went for him. Usually, well, then again, they have 3 hands. They have 3 hands.
Oh, by the way, did you hear my my How to Balance Anubis?
Please, by all means.
3 actives.
Oh, thanks.
His passive
just
is third
auto
active.
blink.
Beats
Auto
Aegis
blink.
He just gets a free 3rd active slot instead of a passive. It would be so good. He'd be right on. Dignitas assaulting into the mid Phoenix here. Doesn't matter how many 500 damage crits are coming out at this point. Chong healing plus the Fire Giant's going to be enough to keep them topped off. No problem. Mid Phoenix does fall. Going for the left side, of course. If you remember your Smite 101, you'll know that the side most distant from the Fire Giant is the highest priority Phoenix. You want to make sure you get that lane address most often. In case you have to take the Fire Giant fight later, it leaves them wide open to the Fire Minion streaming in. Most distance needs to be traveled to contest.
That's right, and especially considering they don't really have an opportunity to push
back.
Once
again, looking good. Oh, barely missing Aurora there. That one's tough to hit.
Aurora actually taking some damage from the meatball there. Not quite letting that one go. Lassus missing his first ult of the day there. He's going to be able to probably get out of this one. Yes, the stun will break. The Phoenix will go down, and they're going to push forward. Herwin taking a lot of harassment here. Oh, but the Aegis.
Yeah, I mean, just the Chongo coming through. Unique trying to do some damage in the backline. Meatball not going to be enough. Now dashing out, realizes take too much, and, well, he runs right into the clutches of the waiting Loki. Snake Man finding himself a kill. Zapman going deep.
And watch Dare to Care. He's going to try to set this back up. He's going to spread out. Zapman's taking some damage. It looks like Samshrew's getting a little bit too tunnel vision there. Cyclone Spin has to try to go for this here. He can't just let them end it for free. Lord of the Afterlife only going to hit 2 there. He'll go down, and now poor Aurora going to try to defend Herwin.
Oh, Lassus juked him.
This is rough.
And, yeah, that's going to do it for Aurora. Zapman going to go take a few pot shots at him. Oh, no, Midgard and Male Proc going to save his life. But Dignitas, May not be able
That
to
was
end
cute.
here. What do you think?
That was cute. I mean, I really like the stun over the wall. Can they end? Absolutely.
Oh,
There's,
yeah,
there's
they're fine
no way that Aurora's going to be able to stop this one.
No, but he may get a really nice-looking one-man freeze there, as Dignitas will roll through the Titan of Order, defeating the Fat Chunks Assemble, and, well, they're in a tough position now in the standings, aren't they?
I would have liked Shing to rotate around the side and shoot the Waxing Moon through it.
He already used the Waxing Moon there.
No,
to
he
try
just used it at the end.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he should have shot it at Aurora.
At
He didn't need to, but
It would have made you happy?
yes.
Also, we didn't pick up there that Shing did, in fact, go for that Voidstone build.
Yeah, he got the Wardstone online, finished it up almost immediately, giving penetration to his team, most notably Na, who went almost directly into Rod of Tahuti. Looking at the damage here, Shing very low at 9,000. Dare to Care almost getting up on that at 8,400. Looking at Zapman, though, at 24K, almost doubling anyone else over there on the Fat Chunks.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, looking back at this game, how much damage his ultimate actually did. I would expect probably about 10K of that coming just out of the ultimate and across the sky there. He did a tremendous amount of damage with that. I mean, late game, it'll do 500-600 damage and hitting multiple targets like that. Maybe not that much. That may be a little aggressive at 10K, but maybe around 4 to 6. That being said, let's take a quick trip down memory lane where we're talking about what makes Mercury so powerful. His ability to attack people from 55 plus feet, where 55 feet is your in-hand radius, basically.
Right.
That's also the effective radius of Voidstone. I think that's something a lot of players don't realize, is that this item actually has a tremendously large aura at 55 feet. It's basically, well, exactly what it sounds like, an entire in-hand attack range.
Yeah. You know, despite the fact that he built into the Voidstone and was helping out Na, Zapman still topped the charts here, and we're going to run into a replay to show you just why he was so effective.
Well, this one coming at the very end of the game here, where it's, you know, it's just pot shot central here. I mean, he's really just trying to plink away where he can. You know, if you've played Smite at this stage, when you are playing that Hunter, you know, any one hit can crit for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of damage. So here it's really more about being surgical and finding these in-hands one at a time. It's not about necessarily hitting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shots on the same target in a row.
Right.
It's get one. Each one matters, right? It's play the game in front of you sort of thing. Get one shot, get one shot, get one shot at that stage in the game.
And, you know, that's one of the reasons that Apollo is so effective because, you know, people will tell you hold down the mouse to get the most amount of attacks. That's the fastest way to do it. But top players will always tell you it's not always a good idea. You want to aim each individual shot. You're not a machine gun. Now, Apollo gets passive attack speed, meaning he doesn't need to go into that extra attack speed and spam out. He'll get that inherently, where if he does have a stun target, he's still going to get that. But that's going to be a big win for Dig.
It is a big win for Dig, and it's a tough loss for the Chunks. Taking a look at the North American standings here, you'll see that, well, Dignitas does climb up over Snipe temporarily here. Snipe does have a couple more games to play this week, including one tonight. And looking over at the Chunks, they dropped to 2-8, still a game above Thirst, but both of them with 8 losses under their belt.
Well, Thirst has a game to play tonight.
That's right. Thirst maybe can go up and tie for that, well, 5th, 6th place position. But over in Europe as well, you'll see that at the bottom of the board, SK Gaming and Team Coast, the teams in the finals from the EU LAN.
So we're going to go into the schedule here just to show you what we have planned for the rest of the week. Remember, we're still technically in week 3. We're still doing our rescheduled games. Dignitas going to take a win over the Fat Chunks, as you see on top. Next up, we're going to be checking in with Thirst versus Snipe. And then tomorrow night, we do have Cognitive Prime, current 2nd seed North America, going to try their luck against Snipe as well.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to do it for game number 1 tonight. Though, stick around. Game number 2 starting in about 10 minutes. For DM, I'm hi-rez Bart. We'll see you guys in just a few with our next matchup. Bye-bye.